Alright guys, a little bit of an update. Didn't start too long ago. So we've installed the starter. I know we usually use a transmission, but I'm just holding it in there right now. Fuel pump. So on the fuel pump, what I've done is the vacuum pump. I've replaced the O-ring, this cover O-ring right here. It's not a factory part, but you can probably find the O-ring on eBay or aftermarket, and you can find the O-ring for this cover. I just don't want to have to go back in and this thing is leaking. Also opened up here, there's a diaphragm inside here. Inspected that diaphragm, make sure there's no holes, and all is good to go. Installed the fuel pump with the new O-ring. Started to hook up the lines, hook up the wiring harness. That's in the process of hooking up the wiring harness. Install the fuel rail on top here. Start to route the wiring harness. Okay, we've got a long way to go yet. A lot of the parts are staged for installation. Got all the new parts staged for installation. O-rings, sealers, washers. It's just a vast amount of parts. Transmission, filter kit, new oil, filter, thermostat, breather valve on the valve cover. Something's in there. Differential seal, new water pump. This is nice. All aluminum, new water pump, new plugs, antifreeze, lifeguard 8. All right, let's continue. Alright guys, here on the 535 XI with the rebuild engine 1227701. So we've started to install a lot of the wire harness, starter, fuel pumps, and so forth, like I told you guys before. We also installed injectors 1 through 6. See if I can get a light up here, show you guys. Injectors have been installed. Now the reason I did the injectors, now before I go there, before you install the injectors, you guys can see here, you have to identify the these are the injectors calibration number. I document them before I install them. You're going to need the calibration number when you get the injector, when the engine's in, and prior to startup into the computer system. You're going to use ISTA to calibrate these injectors. So I got the injectors in because I wanted to do a leak down test before I put it into the car. Now I've set up my leak down detector. I've got it on number 1. Got my screwdriver in here. I'm on top dead center. And I've got about 74 PSI that I'm putting in. And we're going out about 6 or 6 or 7 PSI. Now, I don't expect to have great leak down because you got a brand new build engine. The pistons rings haven't been bedded in as yet, so you're probably going to have a decent amount of high leakage, but this is right around 10%, which is not bad. You're going to see after we bed the pistons rings in and run it maybe 1,000 miles or so, we're going to do back a check again and see how it looks. You guys can see here I spray a little bit of soapy water inside. We've got a minor, very very minor on number 2 exhaust valve, which is really nothing. For you to get bubbles out of there, sometimes when these are really bad, it just blows right out. And you've got a very minor number 1 intake there. You guys can see that's a little bubble in there a little bit. So we're gonna go ahead and check the rest of them and kind of see where we're sitting with leak down. All right, number 6, 74 by 65, sitting right around 12% leakage. You can see got a minor on number 11. They're both minor. The other one's very minor too. on the intake. Yeah, that is leaking, but it's not that bad. Once these valves starts to run, they will seat themselves in a little better. So I'm not too concerned about that. And plus the head was vacuum tested, and it tested pretty good, right into 28 inches of vacuum. Okay, so we're continuing to build on the 535 XI assembly of the rebuilt engine with all the components to get back into the car. I've pretty much completed the left side of the engine. Manifold, wiring harness, ECU, charge pipe, VRSF charge pipe, all the wiring, all the hoses, alternator, AC compressor, power steering, AC hoses. This left side engine mount bracket, left side is pretty completed. Front of the engine, Vano solenoids, new O-rings, new gaskets, coolant temperature sensor, new gasket, new O-rings for the camshaft position sensors. Okay. New actuator motor gasket on the top here. The left side hasn't been touched yet. We're going to start on the left side here shortly. This is the highlight of my engine. Well, not really, but it's the highlight of the assembly of this engine for me. This is a brand new water pump. All right. Ooh. I should do one of those unboxing for YouTube. Okay, hang on. All right, we just broke the security seal. Let's open the flaps. Oh, nice. Pureberg. Factory manufacturer. OEM vendor manufacturer. Exact same part, except it's not written with a BMW name. Bubble wrap. We got some nice instructions. Okay, I'm getting there, hang on. Look at that, look at that. It's like open up a new iPhone box. Oh, beautiful. Tell me it's not packaged like an iPhone, come on. Nice. Oh, we got new hardware. Nice, nice. Let's take a close-up of this puppy here. Look at that. All aluminum housing. No plastic. Well, except this part here. The connector. Pureberg. Look at that. Beautiful. All right, brand new water pump, guys. Okay. Engine's pretty much ready to be installed. Like I said, with the exception of the turbo, you guys saw my update on the turbo with checking out, do a partial rebuild on the turbo, wastegate actuator, flange, and check in your turbine wheels and make sure your journal bearings are good and your thrust bearings are good. I assembled that turbo. The turbo, we're just waiting. I don't have turbos, are almost ready to go. I just need to wait for the O-rings for the oil supply line, and once I get that, we'll install the turbo onto here, and then we're gonna get this ready for installation. However, next step, what I want to do, we've got the transmission here on the hook here, and what we're gonna go ahead and do while we have it here, we're gonna go ahead and replace the oil pan gasket, the oil filter, which is the whole oil pan, and get this drained, replace this before we put it onto the engine. Okay, so this is the next step of what we'll be doing here. So new oil pan kit, we're gonna go ahead and install that. Inspected the mount, everything looks good, greebo looks good, seals are good. We're gonna be changing the O-rings onto the transmission cooler once we install that, and so forth. Okay, new filter kit. Okay, new screws, new oil pan, new filter kit. We're gonna go ahead and install that. All right, stay tuned, guys. All right, so we've got the old transmission pan off, and you can see lubed up the intake there for the seal. Always look inside there, make sure there's no remnants of an old gasket, seal, or anything like that. Transmission is pretty clean, looks good. Fluid that came out is pretty clear. Like when I rebuilt this engine, I changed this transmission all 40,000 miles ago, and it looks still pretty good. One note, guys, when you're going to change this transmission pan, change your transaxle fluid as well in your transfer case, because you cannot gain access to the drain bolt, which is right here, unless the pan is off. Okay, so make sure you drain that off. So remove that hex bolt there, drain it while the pan is off so you can gain access. Then after that you can fill it from right here. All right, just a little quick note. Most people forget to change the transaxle oil. All right, so we've got the transmission pan on. We've drained the transaxle fluid. Right now we're going to go ahead and fill up the fluid until the transfer case oil, new oil, until it drains out of here. We're putting in the factory oil inside of here. Okay, so this is going to go in. Then after that we are going to fill the pan until it drains out of here. I'm going to go limited to like 6 quarts or 7 quarts, and then we'll check it back once we have it in the car. Okay, all right, we're coming together here. We're about to mount the transmission to the engine here. All right. All right, guys, so a little bit of an update on the N55 engine going into the 535i. So we've pretty much assembled all that we can assemble outside, and it's pretty much fully assembled. I mean, this is a modular drivetrain, right? And then we're pretty much ready to put that onto our front suspension. But before that, let's kind of go through and talk a little bit about some of the stuff. You know, we got our dry shaft, we've kind of put that on there. You know, we've got all our mounts, we've got all our wiring. I can't really see it all. Fuel pump, everything is hooked up. Intake manifold is on. Charge pipe, a VRSF charge pipe, that's there. I've kind of just hung the coolant pipe here. We've got our front differential on. Don't have fluid in it. Blocked out new seals. We've got new seals there. Kind of blocked that out for dust. Okay. Like I said, we got our fuel hose on here. A lot of the wiring you can't see. Okay. Front side of it, brand new belt. Hook up all our pulleys. we have a brand new oil cooler. Now this is important. You guys do not reuse your old oil cooler if you're rebuilding an engine due to contaminants or spin bearings or any type of metal contaminants. Replace your oil cooler, because that oil cooler, you're going to put that oil right back into circulation, into the bearings, and you could damage your bearings, damage your crank. So get a new oil cooler. Okay. I updated the plastic to the metal coolant pipe here. So that's metal. We've got brand new O-rings on our Vanos valves. Brand new O-rings installed there. New crush washer installed up here. We've installed our catalytic converter. Put on a brand new seal right here. Torque that up. Bolt on our brackets, both brackets to the transmission here. That's all torqued up. Turbo's on. Remember, we replaced the wastegate here. So this is connected there. We've got a new seal on the front here. Put a cloth. Put on our coolant pipe with a new O-ring in the back here. So this coolant pipe hooked up our hoses here. Remember, we've got a brand new metal water pump. It's not plastic. Right, so we've got a brand new water pump right there. Hooked up our hoses, connected. Connect our turbo valve here. Ran our vacuum line from our charge valve here that actuates and sends to adjust the wastegate actuator. That's connected. All of our turbo and coolant oil supply and drain lines have been installed. Let me get this here. Okay, all the turbo, you guys can't really see much, but all the turbo oil drain and coolant lines been installed with new O-rings. Drain line, new O-rings on the bottom. And remember, we tested the lines, make sure there's no leak. We kind of vacuum tested them, make sure there's no leaks in the lines. The valve cover is not fully secured on, because once I put it in and crank it and I get oil up to the surface, I want to take the valve cover off. I want to take a look, make sure I got oil lubrication after I crank it. All wiring is hooked up as much as I can hook them up. Only wiring is left is regarding what's got to hook up to the car and to the chassis. Transmission is on. Torque converter bolts are torqued. I've got oil in the transmission. Remember, we replaced new filter. I put oil in the transmission. We've put new oil into the transfer case. We replaced the oil in the transfer case. I've cleaned the transmission coolant lines. These bores here, they've been cleaned. So once we put them on, we'll put new O-rings and put them on there. All right. I left this loose because once I crank the oil filler cap, once I crank the oil, I'm going to open that, make sure I got oil inside there. All right, let's get this on.